The difference in the game is Pascal struggled the whole year, and when he plays like that, we're a different team. Frank has struggled. When he plays like that, we're a different team. But, it's obviously a good win. We're very fortunate. Some kid banked in a three for us, and then we made a three-quarter court shot. So being able to save Frank the end of the first half, like 6-7 minutes, I think was key to the game because he made big plays. The last play was not many guys can make that lob pass. Most guys throw it up, and he made a perfect pass. And that's been missing this year. We haven't had that. Without those two guys, we're not even in the game.
Could you elaborate a little bit more on Pascal and his impact on the game, especially on the rebounding side?
Well, 18 rebounds, I guess you don't have to say much more than that, but he changed some shots. He blocked a couple there. He finally caught some under our basket. Instead of dribbling it, he put it back up, which is what we've been teaching him 4 years. I guess I'm a bad teacher or he's a slow learner, one or the other. Everybody in Syracuse takes their key from people who say we should not lose to Georgia Tech no matter what happens. That's not this league. That's not this league. You can lose to anybody in this league if you shoot 7 for 33. If we shoot 7 for 33, we're going to play Pittsburgh in there. They play a lot of zone tight. We shoot 7 for 33, we're going to be in trouble. Big trouble. O'Shea makes 3 threes tonight. He's 0 for 12, the last 12 he's taken. Now he's just got to make a freaking layup, and it'll be all right.
What did you think of that strong charge?
He got hurt. I'm trying to tell him to step in front of Williamson, and I'm walking back saying if he does that, there's going to be a problem. But he did. He got. I hope he's. I know he's hurting now, but he's a tough kid. He'll bounce back. In the beginning, without Tyus, we're out of the game. Never get in the game. The way they started, I mean, he took over. He made 2 or 3 really hard shots, hard drives, really hard drives. I thought he was going to make that 3 at the end of regulation. I told him we could save some time here.
Welcome to the Cuse Militia Podcast with those two unapologetically biased, orange-blooded homers, Sean and Joe.
What's up, Cuse Nation? Thanks for tuning in to the Cuse Militia Podcast with Sean and Joe. If you like it, please hit that subscribe button. Always share it if you can. The universal handle for the socials is @Cuse Militia. Go there. Join the militia. We are the only Syracuse sports podcast centered around giving you, the fans, a voice. So, wow. Well, celebration time, right? I mean, last night was celebration time, I suppose. But hey, we could celebrate 24 hours later, right? What the hell?
I think so.
I mean, what the hell? Why
Till the next
not?
game. Till the next game.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to thank Duke and the fans at Cameron Indoor for lighting the fire under our Syracuse orange and releasing the potential we know they have. I mean, the stars had to align. I think they did, obviously.
Yeah.
We talked about that, and Syracuse put on a show in Durham, pulling out an overtime win, 95 points, 95-91 against number 1 Duke. You'll hear from us. We'll hear from you. This episode will be Duke postgame only, and we'll be back in a couple days to give you the Pitt preview as they'll travel to the Dome to take on the Orange this Saturday. A few days off for this team, January 19th at 2 o'clock. But first, we're going to hear from the friends over at Tix Blitz. Now, I know everybody listening here needs tickets for something at some point. Probably most likely sports if you're listening to a sports podcast. But if you're mostly Syracuse fans and you live in Syracuse, it's easy. But if you don't and you want to go to an away game or something, or if you just want tickets to a concert, go to Tix Blitz. They are the official ticket provider for the Armchair Media Network, where Joe and I cover Syracuse basketball and football. And unlike the other ticket providers, they don't sneak in the extra fees or unexplained service charges. At Tix Blitz, the price you see is the price you pay. Unnecessary fees shouldn't prevent you from seeing the sporting event, concert, Broadway show, or anything else that you decide to go to that you need tickets for of your choosing. So go to TixBlitz.com, enter the promo code ARMCHAIR at checkout, and receive the 5% off your total ticket purchase. That's TixBlitz.com, promo code ARMCHAIR at Tix Blitz. You get guaranteed seats and guaranteed emotions. All right, so
I wish you could pay your parking tickets and speeding tickets today.
Yeah, 5% off with parking tickets. Yeah, that'd be great, right? Syracuse did move up in the net to 49th. That's 10 spots from where they were in that win at Cameron Indoor against Duke, and Duke fell from 2nd to 4th, which is which is nothing. They'll bounce back from that with no problem.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, I mean, here's the deal. Okay. We said going into this, there's no news beforehand. We're just going to jump right in, right?
Right.
We said going into this game, it's going to take 4 things: heart, smarts, effort, and teamwork. We also said they have to play the best game of the season. They did all those things, which is amazing. I mean, Chuku probably played the best game of his life. I mean, where has this 10-point, 18-rebound sleeping giant been? I haven't seen him. Putbacks, dunks, aggressiveness. I mean, and we've all been waiting literally years to see that kind of play from Chuku. And Howard, his body language against Georgia Tech, it was disappointing. And he made up for that last night against Duke, playing his best game of the season. 5 assists, 16 points. Is Frank back, Joe? I mean,
I hope so. It sure looked like it.
It sure looked like
in
it.
that second half, yeah. I mean, he put
was
up a pretty
fired
good
up.
stat line. As far as Chuku goes, I mean, you haven't been hating on him long enough. So,
right.
If you'd have started this 2 years ago, then maybe he'd be a lot better.
I guess a little tough love maybe works.
We showed him the whip.
Exactly. We said Duke did not want us going. I say us. Did not want Syracuse going into their house with a chip on their shoulder. And guess what? Tyus Battle was seeing red. He was laser focused. He dropped 20 points in the first half. He went 12 for 28 for 32 points overall, just about matching the foul machine Zion Williamson point for point. He had 35. Tyus with his best game of the season. And the writing, I think, was on the wall for Duke when Elijah Hughes hit a 75-foot three-pointer at the end of the half at the buzzer. I mean,
well, you can talk about things that happened obviously before that.
Sure.
I mean, Cam Reddish flu-like symptoms right before they come out.
We're going to start this already.
Yeah. Huh?
We're going to start this already.
Well, I'm just saying that's part of the stars aligning is them losing 2 starters really, really early. I mean, come on. Everyone saw what was going on with the Trey Jones. I mean, he's a great player, and if he doesn't get hurt, I don't know if we win that game. But nonetheless, you have to play with who you have. Injuries happens, life happens, as Coach K said in his press conference. So I'm not going to feel bad about it.
No, I mean Hughes he hit that shot. He had a huge first half with 16 points. He had his best game of the season. He finished with 7 for 15 with 20 points. Only twice this season has Hughes not hit double digits, and in the last 10 games, he scored 14 points or more. Brissett finished with 14 points and 8 rebounds. He struggled to finish at the rim. You heard Coach in the Coach montage. Our guy Dolajai,
freaking layup.
I know. Our guy Dolajai didn't score, but he took one for the team. That's for damn sure.
Yeah,
Getting plowed by Williamson, so much so that it launched him off his feet. I mean, the kid has balls of steel. The coach says to go do it, and he goes and does it. How freaking beautiful is that? Syracuse.
Hey, man, you can't say that he's not for the team. He's a team player all the way, bro.
All the way, absolutely. Syracuse shot 43.8% from the field, and this 44% exactly from 3, which is beautiful. 73.7% from the line. They dared Duke to shoot the 3-ball all night, and boy, did they. A school record for Duke. 43 times they chucked up a 3. They only hit 9. That's 20.9%. They gave Jack White constant open looks. He went 0 for 10 for the game, all 3s. And Syracuse wins the battle of the boards 53-48. A ton of rebounds. Holy cow. The Orange tightened the all-time series with Duke at 6-7. So, Joe, I said it had to be the biggest rebound game of my lifetime, at least that I can remember, at 40 years old. And everything that needed to happen, happened. Yeah, and I have all my hair.
Yeah, nice. Hey, man, look, that's a genetic or hereditary thing, okay? I can't do anything about that. It was a great turnaround, and we talked about it. They didn't have to even win this game for me to see. I just wanted to see improvement. You know, we talked about them coming out with the effort. If you can't get up to play Duke and Cameron, then you got bigger problems. And they certainly obviously did. Everyone can sit there and everyone can assume, or they can sit there and kind of figure out what would happen, woulda, coulda, shoulda, if those guys didn't get hurt, and hopefully maybe we'll
Ifs and buts
see.
are candy and nuts. We'd all have a Merry freaking Christmas.
Right, yeah. So people are, they're going to have their presumptions about
Sure.
that, but at the end of the day, win's a win, and that's going to look great on the resume. And we talked about it. Completely erases the Georgia Tech loss,
Yeah, I think so.
like you said, you can only hope that this carries through. It's just like how people get so just upset at just the inconsistency of how we play. When you look at how we played against Georgia Tech and you turn around, and it looked like two totally different teams 2 days apart.
Yeah, and then I would recommend anybody. I do the coach montage. I squeeze like almost 12 minutes of stuff into 2 minutes. It was a great press conference. I wouldn't have you go sit through it if I didn't think it was necessary. But Jim Boeheim touches on some things that are basketball.
Coach K's wasn't too bad either.
Right, but if you want to check out Coach's presser, I would do that. But how about this, Joe? How about orange is the new fast? Can that be universal for basketball and football, or what? Because the pace of that game—that's how you get 95 points. That's how you get 53 rebounds.
Yeah. Well, the thing is who you play, your opponent.
Right, but they usually don't allow that. But they bought right into it. Normally, Syracuse will slow a game down like that.
But again, I think that has a little bit to do with some people that were out, and their defense wasn't nearly what it could have been with those other starters in. So we took advantage of it. The guys they had out there, they couldn't guard Tyus Battle. They couldn't guard Frank Howard. So there was people that had to come off and help, which is why Chukwu was wide open to get those layups and stuff like that. So
how about Chukwu, though, finally not putting the ball on the ground and going back up?
Love it.
And how strong did he play? When he went back up with authority. It wasn't this mundane, half-assed jump, where normally he just gets the ball stripped out of his hands.
And that was my biggest thing. It wasn't even the 10 points. I thought the clutch free throws were great. I don't think anybody who watched the game at the end would have.
Especially you missed the front end of a 1-and-1
rebounds.
Oh, I know.
But that was the biggest thing that stood out to me. Like you said, when he gets the ball down there, a lot of times he's not strong with his hands, and he gets the ball taken out. How many times did he grab rebounds in a crowd of people? And you're like, oh, Chukwu's not going to get that. And he ends up getting it. And he rips it away from the guy and passes it out and it was like, whoa.
I should put up memes that trash his play every game. Because as soon as I put the meme up, he freaking balls out. So
again, it's just what it is. It's equaling. It's day in and day out. You don't want to kind of say, when it comes to football, football is a physical sport. If you take a playoff, that you can get hurt. You only got a certain amount of games. So I think sometimes, with the length of the season, how many games there are, stuff like that, it's difficult. I think basketball seasons is difficult when you're going through finals, when you're going through holidays and trying to manage your vacations and still your school and then your practice in between all that, and then playing home games against teams when you don't even have students there. So a lot of that is just, that can be just fatiguing. And sometimes they just don't show up. And you know what? This hopefully is the wake-up call to show the team how they can play, and they just move forward from here. That's all you have to do, but you can't look like you did against Georgia Tech again.
No, you can't. And it seems like, look, Tyus Battle, they were down, 14-2 at one point?
Well, that was the key. Everything was timely. Tyus Battle brought us back. He closed the gap in the first half. Elijah Hughes had a big first half.
Tyus made those buckets, though. See, it comes down to making the shots, too. Obviously.
Well, that's what Boeheim's always said. He said that we've had the shots all year. And to be perfectly honest with you, Battle has had a lot more easier shots than some of the shots that he made last night.
Yeah, so, that he's missed.
Exactly.
Right.
But they've missed. Boeheim said throughout the whole season that against those teams that we lost, we had shots, we just didn't hit them.
There was he could have ended it in overtime, or at the end of regulation.
Yeah.
But we talk about refs a lot. Last night, I think they were awful again. You got at the end of regulation, Zion Williamson getting a ghost foul. Pascal didn't even touch him, and there was even when my wife comes to me and she says, how come the referees talking to Coach K, all calm and smiling, and then when they're talking to Boeheim, they're like, giving him the hand, and Boeheim's yelling.
Right.
I mean,
Talk to the hand.
Yeah, it was bad. I thought Jim was going to get a technical at one point.
Yeah, I did too. I thought it was actually really close, but I'm glad he held his composure because that wasn't really a situation where he needed a technical because the game was still close. But
Zion Williamson is like a bull in a china shop in a sense too. When the ball's in the air, especially going for rebounds, he's knocking people all over the place. I don't care how big you are. If you foul, you foul. I mean, shouldn't that be how it is? Like,
yeah, well, I mean, when they're not calling that, but then they call that over the back on Sidibe or
the one where he went straight up and down, that one.
Yeah, that one. Yeah. So
my point is,
and then RJ Barrett carried, and then they didn't call it, and he ended up getting a and one 3-point play. Just,
that's right.
I mean, it was just timely stuff, Like, I mean, if you miss a carry that's that blatant, it's like, okay. But then, if he goes and misses the layup, okay, I can live with that.
Well, it's close to it.
It was a bad call, but it was like, but when you miss that call and then they go and they get an and one, like, come on. That just kills me. There's nothing else.
I know. Well, and then he almost traveled right before that. So
yeah, well, he overcame it.
I know he overcame it, and I'm not. It's worth mentioning because there is a stigma when you go into Cameron Indoor and every team's fans see it and say it that the away team doesn't get calls in there, and it's true. It really is.
Yeah. Well, it seemed to be last night.
It definitely seems to be all the time. So it does. So the speed of the game was great. Do you like that? I mean, slowing it down a little bit. Look at the fast break points and stuff we got.
There's a lot of times when you'll see us get a rebound and you see Jim on the sideline, like, kind of waving his hand, like, let's go. Like, he wants to play fast. He wants to try to take advantage of getting down there before the defense gets back and gets set. And obviously, we play at that strength. We've seen what our half-court offense does and when we slow it down, and we know that our defense slows the game down anyway. So then when you get stuck in half-court offense all game, then that's just taking possessions away from you throughout the rest of the game. So it makes it to where you have to be more efficient. So speeding up the game, that's where Boeheim wants it. Last night was where he wanted it, and Duke let him. I mean, that's Duke's pace too, and I think that's one of the reasons why we match up so well year in and year out. I mean, what is it? Because we want to go that speed. The problem is that other teams know that. They know that we play a 2-3 zone, and then they know that we want to get out, so they make sure that we don't, and then it slows everything down. So, I mean, if we can play that fast, I'm all for it. The problem is that teams try to make sure we don't.
Yeah, but you can also, you can also slow that. You can slow it down. You can speed it up at your own will. It's all about the energy you bring and what you're doing.
But if you're speeding it up when it's not meant to be speeding, you're just kind of making bad plays. I mean, you could also play bad.
Oh, if you're going to play sloppy, sure, yeah. Well, then you need to calm down. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that's what I mean. So the whole thing is, if the other team, they actively are doing things strategically to make sure that you can't do that, sometimes it's hard to do. A team like Georgia Tech did that. So.
Yeah, Georgia Tech was like a jigsaw puzzle, man, or like a freaking jacked up Rubik's Cube.
Man.
Yeah, they couldn't.
It was just weird, man.
Yeah, it was weird. It's their defense.
So the best part about last night was the fact that it was just an overall team win. You have 5 players that are in double digits, and everyone kind of made their own contributions. I mean, even Buddy comes in, hits a 3. Merrick didn't score, but again, like you said, took the charge. And you had timely runs. I mean, Battle caught fire pretty much to close that gap in the first half and ended up with 20 in the first half. And he still scored 12 in the second half and made some timely shots. But between him and Elijah Hughes holding it down in the first half, and then you have Frank Howard and Chukwu doing what they do in the second half. I mean, Frank Howard single-handedly alone, took away that 9-point lead that they had. I think he made like 3 shots in a row.
Isn't it just fitting, too, that Frank Howard threw that lob up to Pascal to pretty much seal it at the end of the game?
Right.
You know what I mean?
That was pretty much almost like an exclamation. That was like the first time when I thought, okay, we have this. Yeah. Throughout the whole game.
Yeah. But,
and again, another thing about stars aligning, Jack White missing, going 0 for 10. I mean, I bet you he ain't going to do that again. So there were a lot of things, man. There were a lot of things.
They were not even
we
coming out
overcame
on it.
that in the beginning. It looked bad. I almost wanted to tweet after 0-12. I almost wanted to tweet, like, I wonder how many Syracuse fans turned their TV off at that point. Like, just assuming.
I'll tell you what, it was pretty deflating to watch the beginning of that game. It was atrocious.
Oh,
and
yeah.
You just saw Zion Williamson, this is over. You know, like, he's just going to own this. It's over. And then at the end of the day, what?
I was saying Trey Jones, the point guard that got hurt, he only played 6 minutes and had 4 steals.
Yeah, he was handsy. He's handsy, man.
Hey, man.
I mean,
if you get away with it,
you get away with it, you get away with it. But at some point, you know, there's got to be some kind of reach and foul or something on that guy. I mean, come on. He's a terrific player. Don't get me wrong. And we could sit here and talk all day about, well, they didn't have two of their. I don't care. I don't care.
Well,
Look,
at this, like I said, it's speculation, and maybe we find out later when they come up to the Carrier Dome. But for right now, I mean, we beat the number one team at their place.
Yeah, that's all that matters.
And like I said in the last podcast, that's hard to ignore if you're on the bubble on a resume. That win's gonna be hard to ignore.
Yeah, and let's just say this too, for the record. I'm not trying to toot my own horn or anything.
No,
but,
here we go.
I mean, I will. I might as well.
Dude, bro.
I might as well.
Come on, man. Sorry, that train track's going by my house. The trains.
Look, when we start talking about this NIT stuff early in conference play like that, and then you go and beat Duke, you got
Brandon.
You got a mouthful of crow, and just got to stay positive. And
Usa.
I understand the emotions. Look, let me explain it to everybody like this. Before we did this show, I was doing that all the time, so I get it. But I'm not going to come on here. My perspective, because you and I do this show, Joe. It's my perspective has changed to take it game by game and just be more analytical and just see, kind of see what's going on. So
I gotcha.
The NIT stuff early is Joe. It's kind of Joe's philosophy. Okay, I think that's what he's trying to take credit for. So it is
saying I brought you in, man.
It is easy to get upset, and we know it. And I grew up in Syracuse, and I grew up the good, bad, and the ugly, football and basketball. Mm-hmm. But let's just take it game by game. That is the Cuse Militia way. That's what we do. We take it game by game. And we're not out of the tournament until we're out of the tournament. Look at last year. Everybody was like, "We're out." Joe, you and I were looking at the quadrant systems and where they ended up. We're like, "No, they should be in. They should be in."
Yeah, mm-hmm.
And they were.
Yeah.
So
and
the
the numbers are going to be there this year, and that's the thing. Is a win like that. I mean, cardiac Cuse to the core, absolutely.
Oh
that's
my gosh.
how it's always been. But,
I know. Last night was so brutal.
Barring a couple, seasons here and there, but these type of. Some of these last couple of years where it's been bubble and they give you the biggest, heart tremors.
Dude,
they've also led to some of the most exciting games that I can remember. Like some of the most exciting seasons and some of the most successful seasons that I remember as a fan. So, I mean, again, you just got to put it in perspective. We barely sneak in the tournament. Go to Final Four. Beat Virginia with the comeback. Right. I mean, no one saw this football season coming. I mean, there's a lot of things. Like, if anything, they're going to make you go crazy. But, I mean, lately, they surprise you. And they keep going. They fight. You're going to have the Georgia Tech games every once in a while, the little games where you mess up.
You're going to get at least one a year. I mean, you can plan on it.
Yeah, you're probably a couple. But again,
don't you think Duke's one of the year is us going in there last night? So
right.
You know what I mean? They're feeling how we felt after Georgia Tech. I'm sure the fans anyway.
Yeah, and the whole season, all it is a resume to get in the tournament. That's all you want. I mean, obviously, you want to be this. You want to have the bragging rights, be the best, be number one, better record, whatever. You want to get good seeds. But if anything, this team showed you that they just need to get in, and that's it. So that's why we take it game by game, because you just need to get in, and this team's proved it.
Yeah, and I think we saw the potential. We saw what can happen when Pascal is active, is moving better, and if Frank's problem, I think all speculation here. Frank's problem, I think this year has just been confidence in his ankle. and being able to jump and come down and just get comfortable. He's just trying to get comfortable. I think last night he got comfortable. We'll see. But I think the smile on his face in the locker room during his post-game interview definitely showed it. All right, well, you want to get into some fan feedback or what?
Yeah, let's listen to what some of these fans had to say.
All right.
It's time to hear from you, the loudmouths from the Loud House, the best damn college sports fans in the nation.
All right, guys, you don't know what to do. Facebook and Twitter, go to @Cuse Militia on both of those, universal handle. And I propose the question at every game. Just leave your comment. We normally do a top 10, but because it's Duke and because we're going to do a post-game, a preview for Pitt in a couple days, we'll just do a couple more, and we'll see how it goes. I mean, we'll do 12.
Yeah, we'll allow a couple more. I mean, we beat the number one team in the nation, so right. I think we can go a little overboard here. Plus, I got my bookie pick right. So,
yes, you did. You nailed the my bookie pick. That was a large spread, I would say.
Yeah, huge, Tom.
Huge, Tom. So Joe hits his my bookie pick. That's 2 games in a row. He's on a 2-game winning streak right now.
Oh, that's it?
And that reminds me, I don't know. I don't go back that far because I don't really care. So
well, one of these days I'm going to go back and see what my record is. I feel like it's pretty good.
That's a lot of research right there.
Well, between football and basketball. Yeah, it is. You're right.
That's a lot of time.
Hey, if anyone's listening, if you want to do it for me.
Email @Cuse Militia. All right, well, if you like to bet online and you're not using my bookie, why don't you head over there? The NFL playoffs are here, and it's time to get on the action with my bookie. I mean, don't be that guy with no rooting interest as your friends and relatives sit around betting with my bookie while you just sit there and hoard your money like a little money hoarder. Not with the Super Bowl around the corner, okay? Turn that money into more money with MyBookie. Make sure you're ready for the daily action by signing up at MyBookie today. They pay fast when you win. Ownership really cares about good customer service, and they offer the craziest props. Where you bet is just as important as who you're betting on. And if you want to make money during this NFL playoff season, you got to go to MyBookie. I trust them, but don't take my word for it. Check them out for yourself. Join now, and MyBookie will offer you a 50% deposit bonus to make sure you have a nice bankroll for the NFL playoffs and the Super Bowl upcoming. Use the promo code CUSE25 when you deposit to activate the offer. That's promo code CUSE25 at MyBookie. You play, you win, you get paid. TJ says, after they went down, after the start, a lot of afters. After some point, after they went down, after the start, I still watch and cheer on to the end. Go Cuse, game ain't over till the fat lady sings.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
I like it.
It was nerve-wracking. My 3 kids, even my 4-year-old was like, what the hell's going on? Even he was nervous. He didn't even know why.
He was nervous because you were nervous. Come on.
Richard says, huge win. The Cuse played their hearts out. They absolutely did. The 4 things. Heart, smarts, effort, and teamwork. They did it all. I mean, it was the full Monty. We going back to Notre Dame, another decent road win. You go back to that and you say, that was the first game that they played, full team effort the whole year. And last night was just, that blew that one out of the water. Don says, Chuku was the man at the end. I've seen him do things at the end of big games before. If we could only get a little of that every game. Battle was great tonight. Real team effort. After a while, they started to believe. And I think what he's saying there is they were buying into themselves. And that's
that was the biggest thing. More importantly than his 32 points, even though points had something to do with it, was when he, like you said, and I texted you, it looked like he was a man possessed. Like he was seeing red.
Yeah.
And he willed our team back into that game and gave us the confidence to pull that off, man.
He's playing angry, and when you're throwing an inbounds pass and the Cameron indoor is so intimate that those kids can almost reach out and touch you. You just harness that energy, and I think that's what Battle did. You just take that anger, that being annoyed by those kids, and you take that and you take it and you freaking embrace it and you turn it into points.
Cameron
Exactly.
crazies, more like Cameron crackheads.
That's right.
Oh, no. Come on, man.
Syracuse sports in the
It's a
South.
drug-free zone, bro.
Syracuse sports in the South. I had the craziest dream last night. Cuse went into Cameron, playing the number 1 team in the country. Buddy banked in a 3. Hughes went nothing but net from 70-plus feet, and Chuku went 10 points and 18 boards, and crazy. Cuse won. So, yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
we all had that dream.
Well, wake up, buddy. It was a reality.
Nick says they played like a team driving to the lane. It opened up other areas on the court. Our threes were going in. It was great to see the offense clicking. Battle played like the leader he is. Yes, very important.
The leader he needs to be or can be.
Right, exactly. Everyone can bash Howard, but when we need him the most, he came through in the clutch. Chuku stepped up and had a huge night on the boards and was a huge reason we pulled it out. Great win. That's the Sweet 16 team from last year. Yeah. So
We can be, like I said, we can be better.
we can be better, but I mean, I'm fine with that. But
Well, obviously, I'm just saying that we have more offensive firepower than we did last year. We have a little bit more depth, and this whole kind of rotating through the center thing between Marek and Dolce and Chuku. I mean, you kind of get obviously, first off, you get 15 fouls to play with. And second off,
right, which is great.
You get the luxury of kind of sifting through to see who came to play.
Well, and let's.
There's always competitiveness. If you want the minutes, you got to fight for it. What?
But nothing. I was just trying to say real quick. When the game started and Howard got 3 fouls, and I think Pascal got 3 kind of quick in the first half.
Merrick got a couple.
Merrick got a couple. I mean, you're just thinking, at halftime, I'm thinking, I hope we've got enough guys to finish the game.
Yeah.
Let alone going into overtime and trying to win this thing. Are we going to have
no
enough?
one fouled out. Yeah.
Yeah, no one fouled out. It was amazing. So that's great. For the first time last night, you could see the lanes open up, and the players saw it too, and they were taking them, and I mean they were really opening up, and I mean it was just.
It's a great game to watch.
It was
a great
an
game.
entertaining game. And
Yeah,
I wish they could all be like
kudos,
that.
Duke, they overcame some stuff too. I know they got a lot of players and but they've been playing with that starting 5 pretty much from the beginning of the year. So to see, have a game plan and then just 10, 15 minutes before the game, figure out that one of your starters is sick and then the other guy ended up getting hurt. I mean, for them the way that we were playing, for them to even stay in there, I mean, what Zion did was really, really impressive. So, dude, it was a fun game to watch, man.
Yeah. Robert says, I got nothing, LOL. I'm still in shock. These are right after the game. And I was just having a field day, just watching some of these roll in and getting on the horn with Joe. I was in shock, too. I mean, it was great. Our boy, if now, blah, 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 blah,
I'm so good at that.
If not now, when 84. I got
Don't even read, bro.
I got the backstory on the handle too. What was it, Joe? Is it Jimmy Eat World song? Is that what it was?
I think so.
I take back my previous NIT comment after the Georgia Tech loss. I was sad and irrational. Good win, boys. Yeah. Glad I got to see it in person. Go Cuse. Yeah.
See, I told you to calm down. That you were going to the game. Just woosah, buddy.
Yeah, Goose Fraba.
I hope it was worth it.
And I would have loved to have gotten Mike on or something after. I would love to know what it was like being a Cuse fan at Cameron Indoor.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that would be amazing.
He said he was going to share some pictures and stuff on our and tag us.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got one last night I retweeted.
Yeah.
So,
mm-hmm.
But White Collar Gangster at Doug Vaughn, I think it is. 2 questions. Why was Jack White always guarding Battle? And 2, why was he playing basketball with ice skates on? Yeah, I mean, Jack, I talked to my brother before the game, and he's like, Jack White's, he's going to have to step up, man. He's pretty good. And we talked about Jack White being, besides Zion, down low, because that's how he gets most of his points. He was like a 66% from the field.
Right.
Jack White, I think, was like 40-something, right? I'm almost positive. He's 44% from the field.
Right.
And he's 38.6 from three. Now, I know he doesn't shoot it as much, but still, he's an accurate shooter.
Yeah. Well, he's our Merrick. He's like the glue guy. Like, he does everything. He's bigger. He can go down and he can get rebounds. He really, his effort is right there with Merrick, and he can shoot. So that was definitely a key, especially when they went down a couple guys. They needed some other guys to step up. O'Connell stepped up, played pretty good, but I just think really where it hurt them most, man, was defensively. Just defensively. I mean, you saw the difference in just the point guard with Trey Jones, and then when you got Battle guarding Jack White, and I mean, he made him fall the one time, and then he crossed him over and went left, and it just made him look bad a couple of times. So, yeah, it was there were some mismatches out there, man, for sure.
At Oil Cuse, even with the refs in their BS calls against the Cuse, it wasn't enough to overcome Syracuse's will to. It wasn't enough to overcome Syracuse's will to win. I like the up-tempo type of game. Yes. Also, I'm glad Pascal proved Joe wrong with 18 rebounds.
Whoa, what do you mean me wrong?
Yeah, I proved you wrong, man.
Look,
he proved you
Sean
wrong.
That hates on him, not me. Okay.
I don't hate on Pascal. I motivate Pascal.
Oh, is that what that is? You're doing your little Jedi mind tricks?
That's what it is. He listens, and he takes everything I say to heart. So he went out and he did his thing. At Geo Heater, our boy Geo, look, Giovanni, where the hell you been? He hasn't been in feedback in forever.
Hey, man, he's busy.
I know, he's a busy kid. He is. Beyond pumped, huge win, Orange. Battle finally proving that preseason All-American talent and showing what he came back for. Really impressed with Chuku and Frank. We played our game. We know Zion would score, but made sure to shut down other options. Game plan equals why Boeheim is a Hall of Fame coach. Yeah, in a nutshell. I mean, they did. That's why Jack White had all those open threes, because they were guarding.
Oh yeah,
they were guarding down low for Zion.
Yeah, we couldn't let that happen anymore. He was being way too efficient.
Oh, he was a freaking monster. What was his efficiency anyway? 12 for 20. So
no, like I
60%.
said, you take away some of the 3-point shots that he took later on when he was trying to.
Here he goes.
Get his.
Here he goes.
What?
Here he goes. Take him away. Sure, take him away. Okay, that's 5 of them.
Well, he took a couple where he was pretty much, forced to do it because.
Or he was doing it just to hype the crowd
near the
up.
end. No, it was near the end of the game, and they needed to make some shots.
So he would have went 11 for 15 if that's the case.
Right.
Which is freaking phenomenal. But he didn't.
Around the rim, he's unstoppable.
Yeah, he absolutely is. He is. He's a freaking animal.
Dude, the first play, the ball's bobbling around, goes through a bunch of people's arms, and it just lands in his arms. He takes one step and dunks on everybody.
Over top of everybody.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, it was like it was almost like it was like an involuntary motion of his body. Like the ball's in his hand straight.
Did you see his up and under freaking shot fake come back and lay it up? I mean,
yeah.
He for a guy that big, he's like Michael Jackson out there.
Yeah, he can move really, really well, and he can. I mean, did you see the strong finishes?
Yeah, I'm so glad he's gone after this year.
There was a couple I thought I was surprised there wasn't even an and one because it looked like. I mean, it was ridiculous. I mean, he just fought through it, pushed it up, and it went in. I mean, it's crazy, man. And the way that he can dribble, he can take it coast to coast. I mean, if he works on that jumper, whew.
I mean, he's hitting threes for crying.
I mean, you got Stephen A. Smith saying teams should tank for this guy. So
yeah. Well, hopefully he's gone after a year, and we won't have to worry about him again.
Well, right? We got at least one more game.
I know, and that's enough is enough. Maybe he'll get the flu. At Joe Pasick, 44, I'm sick of seeing, hearing, reading about Duke didn't have 2 of their starters. Cry me a river. When 2 of your starters are top 2 of the 3 prospects in next year's NBA draft, you should be okay, especially at home. Shut your mouth and accept your loss. Go Orange. Yeah. So,
and great, flawless punctuation as usual by Joe.
Yeah, not bad. He's even got quotes in there.
That's what I'm saying.
But-
It's pretty. Yeah. He's on point with that.
Yes, and I
He tries to
appreciate
make it
that,
easy
Joe.
for you to read. You actually read that pretty well. I'm
Yes.
pretty.
See, that's all I need is punctuation. Thank you.
Oh yeah, he's right though. They're
He is.
talking about.
Well,
he's talking about these two being maybe the number 1 and number 2 pick next year's draft. So
Yeah. So they're out. Okay. Well, guess what? You got freaking an animal in there, and Zion Williamson, and all the other players on that team. All their bench players. Like when it comes down to it, those bench players are probably more athletic and higher touted than anybody we got on our team right now. Well, maybe not everybody. I'll take that back. But many.
well, that's
of
what
them.
I was talking about. Was Zion Williamson and R.J. Barrett? I'm pretty sure they were the number 1 and number 2 in the recruiting class last year, and people are saying that they're going to be the number 1 and number 2 picks in next year's draft. So when you have those guys, I think you should probably be all right. And like you said, the rest of the guys, it's not like they're chopped liver.
It's full
They might
of
not
all
be a
them.
top 10 pick, but they were a top 10 recruit. But those guys were 5 stars, high 4 stars.
There's a lot of McDonald's All-Americans on that bench.
Oh God, I smell the Big Macs.
So-
I smell the Big Macs.
Spilling Big Macs.
It's
At
ridiculous.
Keeler Connor, the boys showed up to play. Even Chuku, a huge win for our tourney hopes and dreams. Reporting live, ESPN headquarters is in shambles. How's that orange taste? Well, we all remember the picture, right?
Hey, that guy was talking about the dream, how he had a dream.
Yeah.
Well, last night, Joe Lenardi had a nightmare. because barring just a ridiculous, like an injury or just playing really, really bad, or really, really good, not being on the bubble. I mean, we've lived in the bubble, so it's hard to presume that we won't. But he hates having to deal with Syracuse on the bubble.
Oh, he does. And, like I said, I think we're 49th right now. That's a safe place, I don't need...
Well, right now, but there's a lot of games, obviously, but
I'm saying
yeah,
49. If you end up at the end of the year 49th in the net rankings, that's a safe
you
spot.
should be in.
Right.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of games left, and that can change. We moved up 10 spots after one game. Well, we can probably move down 5 after a game, too, So...
Right.
You got to keep winning. This one game, not Mike, not our buddy Mike, but some of the same people saying, we're NIT bound. Maybe we're over excited about the win, saying, oh, well, this is it. We're going to be in the tourney now. We beat Duke, number 1 at home.
Yeah.
Nothing could stop us now. It doesn't work like that.
No, it's not like we're saying that we're automatically going to make the tournament, but we're looking at it resume-wise. Obviously, there's work to do. It's not like, oh, well, we beat Duke. Hand in your gloves. We're good to go. No, we still have to go out there and we still have to do what we need to do against these teams and get W's. But, barring something really, really bad, at minimum, we're going to be on the bubble. And this is a huge, you can't get a better win for your resume.
No, absolutely not. At J Rayner 44, what game?
Jamie.
What game? I blacked out.
Oh, Jamie, you didn't know? Pittsburgh beat Florida State.
Oh, yeah, Pittsburgh beat Florida State. We got them next. That should be fun. Pittsburgh is they're
Jamie, like he said, he's just like everybody else. Like, pinch me, I'm dreaming. To go from Georgia Tech Saturday to that, come on.
I know. Huge rebound game. I don't know. I think we pretty much covered everything. I don't want to sit here and go around in circles, but just an awesome game. I love the tempo. I loved how we can come into we can go from a game when we're talking about Frank Howard and Jim Boeheim having words, and Frank at one end of the bench pouting and having an attitude, and Jim at the other end of the bench, coaching and doing his thing. I love how they can get over that. That shows it shows camaraderie. It shows that they can overcome some adversity if they're just the other day we're talking about is there numerous tweets, numerous fan feedback on Facebook. You heard things. Is there turmoil in the locker room? What's going on? Blah blah blah. And then they go to camera.
Well, it might not be long term. You sit in the locker room like men. You talk about it and you figure it out. At the end of the day, I think this almost proves that there was something going on, or at least Jim was trying to prove a point, because this has been more of the rotation that we've seen for the whole year. When have we seen Buddy Boeheim play the minutes he played last game? You know what I mean? Come on.
What,
There was
against
something that was
Georgia
going
Tech,
on.
you mean?
Yes. That's
Well,
what I'm saying.
I
There
think
was
what
something
was
going on. You come back to Duke, and now you see more of a normal rotation and what it's supposed to be. So there was obviously something going on. They figured it out. They got together on Sunday, and they figured it out. And that's what you have to do. I mean, what are you going to do? You have how many more games left in the ACC? Like 14 more games. And the ACC tournament, what are you going to just mail it in? Like, no, you sit around like men, and you figure out how you're going to go out there and get the W's.
I think what happened in the Georgia Tech game, I think we saw. I think Frank didn't want to be pulled. I think Boeheim was doing a lot of yelling, and I don't think Frank's real receptive to it. And as a player, you got to kind of take it on the chin sometimes. So
no, you know what though? He got through his sophomore year. He's going to be able to get through this, and
Exactly.
he came back and proved it.
Exactly.
And at the end of the day, sometimes you need to be embarrassed like that to be able to step up and be like, "Yo, look, we just got embarrassed by a team we should have beat, and it's not going to go down like this. And we're going to go down to Duke, and we're going to make it happen." And they did. And you saw the difference in effort. You saw the difference in attitude and confidence. And like I said, whatever they're doing, whatever they talked about, hopefully they figured it out, and hopefully they can move forward.
Yeah, well, I mean, it seems that they have. And, a 4-year player, they know each other pretty well, I would think. And, like you said, if he can overcome his sophomore year, he can overcome one game against Georgia Tech, move on, and improve. That's it. So that's it, Joe. Final thought? Anything?
Final thought is that was awesome.
Yeah, it was.
That made the year.
It was great.
I don't want it to sound like if we lose the rest of our games, then it's okay.
I don't know if it made the year, but that feeling when Syracuse beat Clemson.
We've only beat a number one team 5 times.
I know, but that feeling when Syracuse beat Clemson. I mean, in the football game.
Yeah,
it's like the same thing. It's a big deal, and it's something we should revel in. And the players should revel in it too until they start practice again. I guess they get today to revel in it, and tomorrow they're back at practice. So enjoy
Well, I'll
it.
tell you what, there was a lot of North Carolina and North Carolina State fans at work that were, go Cuse, go Cuse.
I bet.
Everybody.
I know a ton of North Carolina fans. I got texts from them last night. So
yeah, and I had some unbiased, talks to some Duke fans about how I understand the situation, but at the end of the day, next man up. Injuries happen.
Yeah, you're stacked. Your team's stacked. Some of those guys on the bench will be starting.
Don't get me wrong. The team's stacked, but I understand that they weren't playing with a full deck. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
I get it too, but it's a bunch of one-and-dones. And, I mean, these kids...
Well, the guys behind them, Delorier, Bolden, a lot of those guys aren't going to be one-and-dones.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying, though. The ones that were... Well, I don't know about Trey Jones?
Trey Jones, yeah. Well, for instance, between Zion Williamson, R.J. Barrett in order, and Cam Reddish, that was 1, 2, and 3 in the recruiting class last year. And then Trey Jones was top 10 as well. So that was their 4 top 10 recruits of last year's draft. So that's what you're looking at. So, everybody else on Duke is pretty much just role players that are probably going to be 4-year players. Right. So that's their main core, and they had half of it. So, again, it was a great game. We won. It was awesome. But I'm telling you right now, if they come into Syracuse, the Carrier Dome, with a full deck,
everybody healthy, looking for revenge,
full deck, looking for revenge.
Yeah,
woo,
yeah. So
we better be ready for that one. Bud.
Yeah, but we're not ready for it right now. We're still reveling.
No, not right now. Because what do we do? One game at a time.
Exactly, one game at a time.
And Pittsburgh is proven
way.
not to be a pushover like they have been the past couple of years.
No, Pittsburgh's stout. We'll get to Pittsburgh in a couple days, so be on the lookout for that. I am going to leave you with the locker room noise at the end of the Duke game.
Let's do it.
But before that, I've got to thank my bookie. I've got to thank Tick Splits. I've got to thank James on Guitar. I've got to thank Armchair All-Americans, Shabbytown Barbershop.
Mulligan's was probably rocking.
JP Mulligan's. That place was probably going off. Thank you to all of them. And I guess that's it. For Joe, I'm Sean. We're out.
Peace.
listening to the Cuse Militia Podcast, the fan's voice with Sean and Joe.